Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Middle and High School Chorus Professional Learning Community on the Georgia Department of Education platform. This platform was created for educators to collect, collaborate, and support one another. Be sure to set up your notifications to your liking and check back to engage in discussion as often as you wish. Please share this platform with your colleagues so that we may continue to grow and share beneficial information specific to middle and high school choral education. The more colleagues active yields more opportunities for us to share and grow from one another. And be sure to share with a peer and to comment on the video and provide us with feedback. We would love to know how we're doing. I'm Brandy Dent, and I will be your virtual professional learning community lead for middle and high school chorus. So this is our final webinar of the school year, webinar 9, where we're looking behind the scenes, all the things that it takes to run a core program smoothly. Webinar A, if you haven't checked it out, is all about developing, building, and maintaining a budget for your program. Webinar B was about parent organizations and how to run a booster program. And this webinar is all about inventory. Yes, you do have to hold yourself accountable for all the goodies that you have within your classroom. It may be your furniture, instruments, the music, books and instructional material, and even sound equipment and software. So let's get started. As far as your furniture, this is Miss King's music class. Thank you, Miss King, for letting us borrow a picture. You might have a teacher desk, teacher chairs, student desks, chairs, file cabinets, music cabinets, tables, closets, or even a clock and trash cans. So you want to make sure that you have and don't forget risers. You might want to have a spreadsheet where you can hold yourself accountable as well as your school accountable for the items that you're leaving in your classroom. I would have a spreadsheet that gives the item's name. Maybe you need to tell its condition so that you'll know what it looked like when you leave in the end of the school year, how many you have, and of course, if you need to make note for your admin to repair or replace them, you can do that as well. So this is for your furniture. You also want to make sure that you have some type of spreadsheet for your instruments. Maybe you have a grand piano in your classroom. Maybe you have a bunch of keyboards for your student learning, boom whackers, bells, rhythm sticks, headphones, tubaloos, tambourines, djembe drums, shakers, recorders. I would put those in a spreadsheet of their own because they're just labeled instruments, especially if you have a lot of them. I even have guitars in my classroom and headphones. All of those things matter. I would give it an item name, the condition that it's in, your quantity, and I would put property labels on it. For example, property of such and such chorus. Those belong to your program specifically and not just the school. So you want to make sure that if you lend those out, that you have some type of spreadsheet or some type of list or clipboard that tells who's borrowed them and what and how many they borrowed. You want to not have to replace instruments because someone simply took them out of your classroom. So make sure that you're accounting for all of the instruments that you have. The next thing is technology. It might be that they need to know about your teacher computer, any laptops or Chromebooks or iPads and tablets that you have in your classroom. Your phone in itself, if you have a phone, people need to know about that. If you've purchased software and it's lasting or the licenses is not expiring until the next school year, CD players, yes, I still have a few of those in my room, and even sound equipment. I would put the item name because these are more expensive. I would get the model or serial number, the quantity, and once again, if it's something that your choral program purchased, label it that. If it's something that your school purchased, label it that. And if they purchased it for your choral program, then it's for the choral program. Label it such and such chorus, property of such and such core program. Make sure that your technology remains yours for the duration of your program. And of course, don't forget your speakers and your microphones, because those are very sensitive equipment and you don't want anyone tampering that. And you need it pretty much every year, all school year. Instructional material. Now, there may be some things that you have in your classroom that belong to you personally. If so, I would label those things as well. A lot of times you don't think that you're going to leave a school, but in my particular situation, I'm leaving my school this year, and I kind of forgot what's mine and what's theirs. So my best option was to just leave it there, so I don't have to haul things up and down the road. But you might have music. You want to make sure that you label every single piece of music. I would even number them. That way you know how many you have, and if you assign them to students, you know who was responsible for what. Sight reading books. You might have some type of instructional material where it's a lot of them and you want to maintain them in your classroom for the next year. Rhythm books, worksheets, DVDs, substitute binder, even student folders and notebooks. Whatever the case, I would get the title of the music, put in a spreadsheet, of course. I would list the composer, the quantity, make sure that every single one of them is labeled, either it be the school, you, or the core program. Voicing, yes, that's very important, because you don't want to go looking for a piece and it was for your beginning chorus and it ended up being an SATB Divisi piece. So make sure you put that voicing in your spreadsheet. And of course, the theme. It might be a festival piece, it might be a piece that could work for your holiday concert or your winter concert, or it might be themed for October. So make sure that you know what the pieces are for, so that all you can do is just take it out of that spreadsheet and you're able to find it a little bit more quicker. Some core programs number their music. They don't actually alphabetize them, but they put the pieces in order according to their purchase. So you decide how you want to kind of organize that, but make sure that your instructional material has its own entity, has its own place of being. As I said earlier, spreadsheets are my friend, because when you put things in a spreadsheet, you're able to literally categorize them based on those particular columns. Let's say I'm looking for an SATB piece. I can go to my spreadsheet, look for SATB, and it'll eliminate all of my two-part, all of my SAB stuff. If you've never been to the Georgia Music Educators Association website, I know personally I'm glad that the large group performance evaluation music is kind of categorized by class, and then it's also categorized by voice parts and all of that. So just make sure that you take a moment to organize this. You can also get a student to do it. A lot of my organization came when during COVID, when my music appreciation students would finish their work early, and I would have 3 or 4 girls that would go to the back of the room and start typing all of the music that I had in my library. And it finally got done by the end of the school year. So utilize those students. If you have a student that wants to stay after school every day while you work on something and they work on something, there's a way to get it done without you overwhelming yourself. But use a spreadsheet. It's technology and it saves. You can print it, you can write on it and fill it in later. There's so many different ways that you can use a spreadsheet to help you. And then the old school Rolodex. Yes, because you have to treat it as if you're not going to be there the next year. You don't know how forgetful you're going to be in the next school year. So why not have your passwords, your important locals, maybe the churches that are in the area, piano tuners, photographers, and important vendors. Just put their cards in a Rolodex. They gave you their business cards for a reason, so do that. As far as passwords, you want to make sure that it's not something that's too sensitive. But me, for example, my social media passwords, our Instagram, our Facebook page, and even our YouTube, I had to put them somewhere. So I left them at the school in the Rolodex so that when the next director is there, they're able to get access to everything that we've done since the core program started. So make sure that you have a paper copy, a physical copy of everything that's been done. And of course, you want to have your student rosters. I use a system called Choir Karate, and I'm able to know where my students are in their musical career with me in my core program. And so I'm able to know exactly what kind of students I have. It may help me divvy them out in a certain class that I want them in, or it may simply just help me know who I had the previous year so that if they're not on my roster next year, I can find them. A lot of times kids takes things really personally when they see that they're not on your core roster the next year. They may think that you kicked them out of chorus. You may just simply forgot that they're not, you know, you probably don't even realize that they're not on your roster. But whatever the case, I keep my roster from the previous year so that when I'm in the building the next year or if someone else is in the building, they're able to see who was a part of the core program and what their progress looked like throughout the school year. So make sure you have that as well. These are my final tips and tricks. Print a paper copy of everything that you have within your system, just because you never know when a computer might go out. Assume there's a new person coming the next year. You don't know what life will bring your way, so you don't want to have the next director high and dry and not a clue of what's going on. So it's always good to have those things readily available for them. Keep a record of your new purchases. If you just got something, you just bought something really cool, make sure you go ahead and add that to your inventory list when you open the box. Keep a record of anything that you borrowed or that someone has borrowed from you. Label everything you can. You want to make sure that everything you have in your school, especially in your classroom, belongs to your core program. Collect borrowed items. If someone borrowed sheet music from you, hopefully you remembered or you have record of it, get it back before the year ends so that you don't have to worry about it being missing the next school year and people have forgotten. And if you borrowed something, make sure that you returned it. Someone else has to finish their inventory as well, and if you still have things of theirs, it's kind of hard to be accounted for. So make sure you do those things. I thank you so much for this wonderful time with the Georgia Department of Education. If you will, you're welcome to follow me on social media. I'm Brandy Dent on Instagram. I am at Miss B Dent. And don't forget to set up those notifications so that you won't miss a beat with everything that educators in the music department have to share. Thanks again and continue enjoying teaching music.